Well, of course, I'm not an Arabic speaker, nor do I read Arabic. So I compensated for this when I first tackled the Quran. I read as many commentaries as I could on it, but I also read the Quran in 10 different translations. I figured that between 10 different scholars, surely I could come up with the meaning.
Well, that's interesting. You mentioned that you read the Quran in 10 different translations. Did you find that there were some differences between these translations for a given verse, for instance?
Yes. There's a great deal is made about a better translation of the Quran or some such thing. And what I found was, comparing all 10 translations, is that in general, they were all the same except on one issue. And if that issue involved violence, then you could see how the translators would dial that up or down. And so that was really the main difference.
That's a good point, and I can even add to what Bill just mentioned. For instance, there is a verse in the Quran that talks about the God of Islam, describing him as, in the Arabic language, as the master deceiver. However, when you look at all of the English translations, amazingly, that very terminology has been changed over to a master planner, or master plotter, or schemer. I mean, what was your reaction when you first discovered the actual meaning in the Arabic language, for instance?
My eyes got big. I mean, I had never thought in my life of God being a deceiver and a schemer, and particularly one who would plot against me. Why?
That's a very interesting thought, and of course, sometimes we are being told that you have to read that particular verse within its context, but when you read it within its context, it actually talks about a plot, and one of which, for instance, a plot from the Romans and the Jews against Jesus, for instance, and the crucifixion of Christ. So there is also within the context the concept of someone basically planning something, and in this case, of course, the God of Islam is being the one who is plotting this whole scheme.
Yes, and the other thing that disturbed me when I first read it was I discovered that Allah didn't like me at all.
How does that make you feel, for instance, when you found something like that about a God that is supposedly the God of a religion of peace?
It was very disturbing. Because I had been raised in the Christian faith, and God was of love. And here was a God who could hate me, who was plotting against me, scheming against me. I actually had this mental image of, you've ever seen an ant farm?
Yes.
Okay, I got the image from the Quran that I was like in an ant farm, and Allah owned me, and He would be playing tricks with me, blocking off passages and stuff. It was a very unusual, to have someone scheming against me. It was a mind adjustment I had to make.
Well, thank you for that insight, Bill. Certainly this adds to the importance of having a show like this one. We are going to take the teaching of Islam and its doctrines, and we're going to try to simplify it in a manner that is a non-Arabic person will be able to comprehend. We're going to take Islamic terminologies, and we will do our best to provide the translation in English in a way also that will preserve the actual meaning in Arabic and be faithful to it, but at the same time provides a clarification for those particular terminologies, especially the teachings of Islam. But sometimes, even in Arabic, it might be a very dry teaching.